Let's talk tools. Here's my setup for all my rides moving forward. So first off, I don't want to lie to you guys and make it look like I'm that guy who's always been prepared. I've actually pretty much been the opposite. I've had some tools always, but with a lot of my trips, experiences, I've seen what's worked, wished I've had certain things, and most recently, when I did a ride on the Arizona Peace Trail, I really felt like I want to be the guy who has the parts, who has everything you need to fix my car, to help others. It's a great feeling when you have something to help somebody else out. And when you're riding with the group, hopefully amongst everybody, you've got all of these basics to get yourself out of a sticky situation and keep your ride going. So we'll start on the table, starting over here, looking at my 1 o'clock, and we'll just go around the horn. So first off, toe strap. I actually have a huge Bubba rope. If you watched our video on Moab, one of my buddies had a big crash and we had to get him out of hell's revenge. The Bubba rope is awesome. I'm gonna have it in my other vehicle. But for the race car, I wanted something a little bit smaller. I've always had my eye on these speed straps. I love how you can just loop them through. This is the bigger 2-inch by 30 feet long. I was down in Baja in 2016 and one of the guys I was riding with used this to help pull an SUV stuck out of sand. I couldn't believe it. So always wanted one. It's a little beefy and overkill, but you know, I'm gonna have this strap for 20 years, who knows, right? And use it to pull out a big full-size truck if need be. So it should be fine for these side-by-sides. Right over here, I've got a little charge pack. Picked it up off Amazon for about 70 bucks. This is supposed to start a diesel pickup truck 4 or 5 times on one charge. So recently the battery died on this. I might have left an accessory on. We had to push the car in the trailer. Never again, right? Gonna get a little jump pack, it's small. We can use it to charge our phones if we're out in the wild, or our camera gear. Definitely needed to have one. Love it. Hopefully it works good for us out in the field. It's got a little flashlight on it too. Over here, you'll see a lot of tools I just picked up at the local Home Depot, Husky brand. Not the highest end like Snap-on, but good enough, pretty good quality I've experienced over the years. Got a little air pump. So when I first got a set of 32-inch tires, I flatted 2 of them on one ride. My buddies had a small little pump, I had one too, and it would barely fill up a tire. So I've graduated to something that's a little bit bigger, like this size right here, because those little guys just aren't gonna get it done when it comes to filling up a bigger 32-inch tires. Guys are running 35s. This is a little bit more robust and will work well for today's size UTV tires. Speaking of robust, wife hooked me up for Father's Day. Got this really nice Milwaukee 1/2 inch. Now, I really need this because my race car, I've got a screw jack where I need a 1/2 inch, and I wanted something beefy enough where I could really torque my lugs on my wheels if I'm doing a tire change. I've always carried a cheater bar and I'm still gonna keep this, but we'll see how this plays out. I might end up not needing a cheater bar, as this thing should have enough torque to go ahead and comfortably torque down some wheels, get back in the car if we're on a ride or in the middle of a race. One feature I like on this Milwaukee is it's got a little battery indicator. So charge it up before a long ride, at least get an idea, bring my charger maybe in the chase truck or maybe in the vehicle if I need to. Should last for multiple uses and hopefully for a whole trip. Real quick, I've used regular motorcycle tie downs. Ratchet straps are the way to go. Like I mentioned in the Moab video, my buddy's car was barely holding together. The ratchet straps allow us to put a lot more torque on, I've seen the back of a vehicle as well as the front A-arm to get us out of the situation. I've seen in Baja, this used as a radius rod for over 30 miles. Motorcycle tie down is not worth it. Have at least 2 good ratchet straps. It's gonna make life a lot easier when you actually need one. I like having a little headlight. You never know, it could be at night. It's good to have it quick and easy. I like having one of these in the gearbox at all times. So speaking of learning lessons, you can look at my extra parts and screws. I think I've learned a lot. First off, my buddy, if you watch Arizona Peace Trail, my buddy had a fluke deal happen. His secondary nut backed out. We were dead in the water. We were literally walking around looking for the washers. And luckily, one of our buddies had the correct thread, and with a bunch of extra washers, we got him going, and he finished his ride. Otherwise, he was getting towed out of there. It's a fluke deal, I've never seen it, but because of that ride, I got all the hardware to replace your secondary. And one of my buddies practices a good idea, which is when he does burn a belt, he takes his impact, he pulls the secondary off, he makes sure he gets everything out from behind it, just so nothing can get back in and potentially hurt a seal and cause a blown transmission seal. So maybe you drop one of these, just a peace of mind. I like having this, and I'm glad I bought it. Got a couple axle nuts in case you're replacing an axle, and most importantly, you gotta have something to take it off and replace it. So got a little impact set with a 27 that will fit for all axle changes. I had to do one recently on this guy. I went up on a riding Crown King, and lo and behold, I broke a rear axle. So got a couple extra of these in case you lose one in the dirt. Since with the race car, we went and did a fresh prep on all the suspension bolts, so we've got a few extra pieces just to keep. I'm carrying a Heim that'll fit in the rear of a radius rod. Probably won't ever need it, but all these vehicles do have some type of Heim. A lot of guys are running beefed up radius rods, Can-Ams and Polarises, so I threw one of those in. This car behind me, my race car, has got a bunch of panels that are all held together by Zeus tabs. I use a 3/16" American Allen, and I keep this pretty handy. I have a couple extra Zeus fasteners just to get any panels off in case I lose any. I've got them with me. Speaking of the race car, we've blown a few fuses just with a beefier fuel pump. I've got a bunch of extra 10s, 25s, and 30s. I've also got this big 60, which will power my light bar. So nice to have just in case we need it. And I've just got some various length screws and a bunch of extra washers and nuts just to help fix. I've seen guys break radius rod bolts with aftermarket cages, that type of thing out in the wild. I broke some suspension bolts in Glamis. Had I had these, could have thrown them back in. Not had any issue. I had to go to Blythe to get them. So painful lessons learned. Got what I need in my opinion for those type of screws. They're gonna get you back going on a long ride or save the days. One final set of screws that I carry just from a lesson learned. I've got 3 of these which hold on the flywheel for a Razor Turbo. We were out riding, these sheared off. I guess it's a little bit of a known issue. We were dead in the water. They shear off from the starter gear. So the starter works, everything's fine, but it wouldn't spin to get the car to fire over. So I bought 3 extras, and now I've got 3 extras. Moving over here, I got your basics. I've got a Mastercraft bag here, which is the 4-pocket. This folds up and rolls up, along with this Mastercraft bag, which has got some padding on the bottom. Pretty reasonably priced, about 25 bucks each. Got a couple different various screwdrivers, sizes, a couple Phillips, a couple flatheads. This is my Nard one I use for beating on things with my little hammer in case I need to. I like using some of the Rotopax fuel cells on the rides, and this is a nice filler for the Rotopax. It just takes a lot of time off when you actually need to dump 2-3 gallons into a car. This saves a lot of time and is nice to have. Wrench-wise, you always need a nice set of needle nose, something decent with some cutters. You're always gonna need a needle nose for a lot of scenarios. Got a couple basic wrenches. Got a couple different sets of pliers that are adjustable just for holding something in the case you need. For socket wrenches, I got a 15 which swivels, older generation Laser 1000s. It's nice for a radius rod. 15, 17, and a 19. And of course, I've got a small crescent wrench to hold the backside if I don't have the correct size wrench with me. So coming back around, I talked about my cheater bar. I like having it to make sure my lug nuts are secure. And that's a 1/2 inch. So of course, I've got a 1/2 inch drive with 1/2 inch size socket sets ranging from 13 up to 27. Pretty simple. Most everything on the Razor is at least a 13. The only thing that's smaller is my little 10mm, which I use on its own separate little quarter wrench just for belt changes. And save the best part for last. These are a lot of tools. You might be saying, Nick, that's a ton of stuff. That's pretty crazy. But if you think about it, amongst you and all your riding buddies, if you've got these type of things collectively, you're gonna get yourself out of a lot of situations. So if we get down to, hey, you're new, Nick, what are just the basics? Well, you need a belt, you need your clutch tool. Razor Turbo looks like this. You need your wrench to take off your clutch cover. And if you're asking me what are some of the most basic essentials, I'm gonna say those 3 things. Some electrical tape and zip ties because they're always gonna come in handy. A tire plug kit, an extra belt of course, and then for the Polaris, a Torx setup where you can take off all of your screws in a jam. So I would take all these things. I would also use one ratchet strap because again, you can use that in a lot of scenarios if a guy breaks something. And then you can get a cheaper, smaller toe strap. So everything I mentioned, not including the price of the belt, essentially for under 50, 75 bucks, you got some basics to help with a flat tire, a belt change, a broken radius rod, and a couple other little ancillary things that could go from you being stranded to getting back, or at least being able to get towed back to your camp so you can finish out your ride or make it home without camping out in the woods or the desert. So this is what everything looks like all buttoned up. Because this is all going in the race car, or most of it at most times, this got a much different layout than a traditional side-by-side. This small pack here is gonna go in the back underneath the spare tire. This rolled up tool pack is gonna go underneath the passenger seat. We're gonna put this in the passenger side door for quick tire changes, and then either gonna put this underneath the driver's side seat, hopefully we don't need it very often, knock on wood, or we can put it inside the full-size spare tire. Just to touch on a few things real quick, the car already has this full-size spare axle, a screw jack, full-size tire. So with all of those things, I feel like I'm ready for long trips in Mexico, Arizona Peace Trail, racing. I think this is a really good setup, and we'll continue to learn more, continue to put more parts in as we need them. I hope this gives you a couple insights, or maybe some ideas on a couple things you want to add to your existing toolkit. If you have any good ideas, comment below. Let's help each other out. There's probably a couple things that I'm missing. Send them my way. I love reading the comments and hearing what you guys think, especially with something like this where we all have different experiences, we ride in different conditions. Let's help each other out and come up with the best toolkit that works for all of us so we make it back to camp and we're not stranded anymore. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and we've got a lot more coming your way.